know y'all pissed. I know y'all a little upset that your boy just came in late. But look, I got all my stuff together. I had a crazy month last month. I'm getting all the great stuff that I'm gonna show y'all today. And with that being said, it's a new episode of The King's Treasure. Let's get it going. Now, first game up on this list I'm showing you guys is the only game I bought for the Xbox this time around. And this game here has so much going for it, it's not even funny. This is called Hogwarts Legacy. And if you're a true-to-life Harry Potter fan, this is the game you're really going to want to have in your collection. Now, this game is where you take place and taking control of a protagonist that you get to create. Of course, hey, customization is a big part of this game. And you get to be a 5th-year student in the Hogwarts Witchcraft and Wizardry School. It takes place in the 1800s, so literally a whole century before the events of Harry Potter actually truly began, where you get to see all types of different things that Harry Potter experienced, but of course, years before. Now, this game has so much going for it. It has full-blown customization, gameplay mechanics that are out of this world, graphics are just outstanding, the colors are beautiful, the whole aspect of the game is really, truly a marvel of its own right. Of course, even with praise, it does come with backlash and controversy, of course. But regardless of that, the game is a phenomenal game. I can't say how much this game is really something else to play. I think so many people will enjoy the fact of just reliving Hogwarts and reliving Harry Potter in this different type of fashion. We've been waiting so long for this game to come out. And of course, PS5 and Xbox Series X users get to get this game firsthand. Of course, PS4 and Xbox One people, you're gonna have to wait a little bit, and just a little while longer we'll hopefully get that game released. But other than that, if you haven't checked out Hogwarts Legacy, I do highly recommend it to add it into your collection. And hey, make sure you have your wands ready, because this game is a crazy magic trick all of its own. I think you're really gonna like it. Now, moving into the Switch category of games, this first game I'm showing you is one of 3 games I bought from a special website called Super Rare Games. Now, this game here is called Source of Madness, and this is where you take control of a new acolyte that goes on a nightmarish odyssey into the Loom Lands and to uncover the secrets of the Tower of Madness. Now, this is a side-scrolling dark action roguelike, which is pretty much a Metroidvania, but it does have RPG elements towards it. Of course, you'll acquire power-ups and leveling up your character. It has a very unique art style, which may take some people aback by how it may look, but if you are a fan of roguelike and Metroidvania style games, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy this. Now, once again, this game is only available physically from Super Rare Games themselves, so if you're trying to add this into your collection, you're gonna have to go onto that website. But it is also a PEGI version, so if you're into the ESRB, you might have to wait a little while. But other than that, this is a great game to add into your collection if you're looking for a new roguelike to play. Now, this next game coming up from Super Rare Games is called Hell is Another Demon. Now, this game is a bullet hell shooter that has some fast-paced action, crazy colors and graphics, and an awesome soundtrack. Now, Hell is Another Demon has some just out of this world, just gameplay mechanics and whatnot. If you're a bullet hell fan just like myself, you're really going to want to add this to your collection. Of course, it doesn't have a US physical release just yet, so you're going to have to go on Super Rare Games to grab it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to go fast since it's kind of under the radar. Check this one out as well. Now, the last game I'm going to show you I bought from Super Rare is actually a collection of games built in one. Now, this is called the Heaven Dust Collection, and it comprises of 2 games that pretty much pays an homage to the Resident Evil series like it was back in the day, where you do a lot of exploration, action, puzzle solving, resource management, and of course, shooting a bunch of zombies. Now, the stories are kind of similar in some ways on both games, where you take control of the main protagonist, you explore the laboratory, and you're trying to figure out why these zombie viruses infecting the world, and possibly you're trying to make sure that it doesn't get more and more out of control. Now, if you're into those old school Resident Evil games like they were back in the day, but have a little bit better isometric kind of look and feel to it, this game is going to be something that you're really going to enjoy and have into your collection. The Heaven Dust Collection, I really wasn't too sure about it. I've never seen these games before in my entire life, so it was something interesting to look at and see what it can do. But overall, I think these games are really fun looking, and they have a similar base point of where you might be able to really want to enjoy yourself, especially if you're a Resident Evil fan in the old school sense. Check them out. Now, if you're looking for a new Metroidvania to add to your collection, this one is called Astronaut, where big boss battles, platforming areas, and enemies big or small will all come afoot. In this game, you'll take control of the character Astronaut, who's on a mission to destroy and stop the great army that's come onto his planet to exterminate his race. Now, this game is a little bit different than what I thought I would like in the sense of just graphical look and texture of everything. Of course, it's in straight up black and white, which does give it a different, interesting look. But overall, it looks like a fun game to play and have something different on the table for what Metroidvanias can look like. And in this case in point, Astronaut looks like to be a very fun game that a lot of people may miss if you don't really pay attention to it. At this point, Astronaut just came out on the Switch, and you can also buy it for the PS4 and the PS5. Give it a look. Now, who wouldn't want to go on a cosmic adventure to save the love of their life? And I'm pretty sure everybody would love to do that in some type of way. And in this game, you can do that. And this game is called Genesis Noir, where you take control of the character No Man, who represents time, trying to stop Golden Boy, who representing energy, is trying to kill Miss Mass, who is considered the mass of the universe. Now, the game plays out in the events of the Big Bang as the metaphor with the characters, and it has a film noir style detective movie look to it. Now, you'll be using this character and you'll be doing point and click adventure style gameplay where you use different mechanics such as clicking on the character or clicking on a certain event in the movie or the vignette, and you're going to do different prompt action scenes of where it plays out in the game. It's a very unique art style. It's colorful, it's beautiful and aesthetic in all types of ways, and it just has a beautiful story to where you can play it out, and I think it's something that a lot of people will enjoy if you give it a chance. I wasn't a big fan of point and click adventures, but I'm very interested in seeing how this game will play out. Check out Genesis Noir if you get a chance to go out and find it. Now, for all you old school RPG fans out there that remember playing Final Fantasy or like the Dragon Quest games back on the Super Nintendo or the NES, this game will give you pretty much a nostalgia that you never really had before. And this is the Alpha Data Genesis collection. Now, this comes with part 1 and part 2 all on the disc or the cartridge, depending on which version that you may get. But they are both games all in one package, and the cool thing about these games is that they were originally on mobile devices, but they finally decided to port them over to modern day consoles like the PS4, PS5, and the Switch. Now, they're not technical marvels in the sense of RPGs, but they do give that old school feeling where you can travel around the map over a top 2D kind of look. Also, they have 3D battles, and also they have voice acting for the characters. That's what pretty much gives it a kind of a little bit of an edge, but don't expect too much of this game in the sense of just overall like expectations to be high. Other than that, the game is really cool. Both games do have a story that link up to each other, so you kind of do want to play the first one before you jump into the second one. But other than that, they are pretty cool looking games. You can get them from Limited Run, or you can get them on Amazon as well. Check these out as well. Now, next up is a survival horror game, which I thought we weren't going to get from Japan, but lucky enough we were actually able to get an ESRB version of this game, and it's pretty interesting. This is Signalis, and it's a survival horror game which comes with a third-person shooter perspective and also a top-down 2.5D look to it, but pretty much gives you that feeling what Resident Evil used to look like with the whole save management system where you have to go into safe rooms, puzzle solving, and also saving resources as you go through the game. It takes place where you control the character Lister, who crash lands on the planet and is also looking for her partner. Now, the cool thing about this game is that depending on how your conditions and also the decision that you make as you explore through the game will give you different endings. So it kind of has that real cool aspect as to what you do depends on what the game will go by. But overall, the game has a dark look to it, has some real interesting story behind it, and overall it just looks like a fun game to play. If you want another survival horror game added to your collection, go ahead and snap up this one. It's pretty much going to be good. Now, I think a lot of people like rhythm games in general, and it's a nice change of pace if you don't want to just do any shooting or killing or anything like that. Well, Theatrhythm Final Bar Line gives you a taste of a just change of overall scenery in the game aspect. Now, this hasn't changed too much over the course of the other games that have come out previously, like Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call or Theatrhythm Dragon Quest. But overall, the game aspect is still the same. You take control of a cast of characters from a different Final Fantasy, and of course, how you attack is based upon how you actually go with the rhythm of the music in the game itself. Now, Theatrhythm Final Bar Line does have a lot more music than all the other ones that have come out recently behind it. You'll have games and series of games that are appearing into this, like Live Alive, The World Ends With You, Octopath Traveler, and so many more. Just overall soundtracks of music to enjoy as you're playing, and of course you get an RPG experience with it. Check out Final Bar Line. I think it's something that a lot of people would like to get with as they go by themselves. And of course, because it's Final Fantasy, who doesn't like Final Fantasy? You'll get to experience all the music from all your favorite games over the past few years. Check this one out. Now, another new Metroidvania style game has just got released, and lucky enough we were actually able to get a US release of this instead of just only the European version being released. This is called 8 Doors Arum Afterlife Adventure. Now, this game is where it takes place in the actual Korean folktale background, where you take control of Arum, who is a girl who is in searching of her father's soul in through the 8 doors of purgatory, and also trying to uncover the secrets of what's going on within the 8 doors of purgatory. Now, this game is not just any, standard Metroidvania style game. It does have hack and slash mechanics. You'll level up your character. Of course, you'll have some companion help you along the way, and overall, you'll be leveling up the character and upgrading her as she goes through her mission onto the adventure. It's a very unique art style game. It has a very unique story behind it, and I think a lot of people will like it, especially for the Metroidvania fans out there. Now, this next game I was a little bit hesitant on buying just overall due to the fact of how it looked, and I wasn't too sure if I was going to like it, but I decided to give it a chance anyway. This is called Dungeon Munches, and this is actually a very interesting game in the sense of what the concept actually is. You've been revived in this underground facility, and in order for you to escape, you actually have to go on a quest to not only hunt down those monsters, but you'll have to take them, cook them, and eat them to acquire different abilities and powers. Now, this game's overall aesthetic and look is colorful and is that 16-bit art style. It is very fast-paced in the sense of the hack and slash element of it all and the shooting that will go and consisted of in this game. But overall, I think it's a fun game to play when I gave it a chance, and I think a lot of people would do the same thing and feel the same way as I did when I first saw it. It is something that may go under the radar for a lot of different people just overall just by looking at it, but if you give it a chance, I think you'll find a hidden gem in this one if you can. Find a copy for yourself and add it to your collection. I do highly recommend it. Now, everyone's favorite pink puffball is coming back again with another game, and at that, it's not even a new one. This is a game that actually came out way on the Wii years and years ago, and we're getting a remastered version of it. This is called Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and Kirby is back again with some new stuff. He got some new power-ups in here as well as some of the old fan favorites as well. You get to have a cast of 4 different party members at one time, of course with King Dedede, Wallow D, and Meta Knight joining in. And of course there's some party games in here, and you also have some new story aspects to the game as well. Now, I've been a fan of Kirby for a long time. I love Kirby since the Super Nintendo days, and Kirby has always been something that I think a lot of people have enjoyed just because of how cute he is, but also just to the fact that it's all the aesthetic of having different powers, different abilities, fun party style things with Kirby. And it's good to see that they decided to bring this game back after all this time, especially since we got Forgotten Land not too long ago with that. But it's nice to see that they're giving us a new party game where you got, multiplayer aspects to it and everything. And they just giving us a fresh coat of paint to a game that really was beloved. Check out Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe for the Switch, and I think you're gonna just absolutely adore it. Now, it seems like this year is just nothing but remasters and remakes, and in this case, there's no exception to the rule for Tales of Symphonia Remastered. Now, for all you RPG fans, I'm pretty sure you remember Tales of Symphonia, and as I did as well back on the GameCube, it was one of the best RPGs you could have gotten. And now we're finally getting a remaster after all these years. Now, this version of the game is actually not the GameCube port. This is the PS2 version that was released back in Japan, which isn't the greatest version of the game, which did have some backlash for it because of the fact that it doesn't play too well, but they are planning to address that. But if you're a fan of RPGs, as I think a lot of people are, but also the fact of the Tales series, which is a fan favorite of just overall franchise of games that I think a lot of people have enjoyed, this was considered one of the best Tales games I think out there, and to this day it holds up very, very well. It has a very cute art style to it. It's fun, It has a lot of different cast of characters, and of course the relationship building with those cast of characters. And I think it's something that a lot of people should add to their collection if you are truly an RPG fan. And if you're new to the series of Tales games, this is a good way to jump into them. Now, you guys knew I had to add this one into my collection. There was nothing that was going to stop me from getting it. This is Metroid Prime Remastered. And of course, you take control of Samus Aran, the bounty hunter who is on her quest and her mission to go and find the Metroids. Now, the reason why this game is so popular right now is not just because the game is so good, but the controversy behind it stating that there's only so many copies that were made for it. And everyone's trying to sell their copies for like a few $100s, which is absolutely insane. But overall, the game is very, very good. Of course, if you ever played it on the GameCube, you should expect the same quality, if not even better, of course, because it's a remastered version of it. Check out Metroid Prime Remastered. If you're not a Metroid fan, this will make you one. Check this one out. Now, for all the old school gamers out there like myself who used to play on the Sega Genesis, or even if you had a PC Engine back in the day, you're gonna love to see that this is making its return. This is Valis, the collection. Now, this is actually Valis with all 3 games in one box, so you get the first, the second, and the third game. Now, Valis, the Phantom Soldier, is basically a story where you take control of Yuko Asu, who is a Japanese schoolgirl who is on the quest and making sure that she protects the 3 realms: Earth, the Land of Spirits, and the Dream World, Vicanti. Now, of course, the Demon Lord Rogius is on his way and trying to exterminate the entire world, and of course to capture all 3 realms, and it's her quest to stop him. Now, these games were originally back on the Sega Genesis and of course the PC Engine, but they're finally getting a remake on the Switch, and I think everybody's gonna enjoy seeing them come back to life. Try to get yourself a copy. Now, 3D platformers come in all types of ways, and in this case is no exception to the rule. Clive and Wrench are jumping onto the scene with this new 3D platformer, and in this case you'll take control of the characters Clive the rabbit and Wrench the monkey on their quest to stop Dr. Dacus and his evil plans to take over the world, and you'll be traveling through time and space on a 1950s refrigerator, which is absolutely just weird and all outdoors. Now, if you ever played games like Banjo-Kazooie or Tooie on the N64, or something a little newer like Yooka-Laylee on newer modern day consoles, this is not going to be anything new to you, but of course it does have a fresh take on the action platform scene, and of course a new cast of characters are finally joining in, and Yooka-Laylee actually has a type of presence in this game. It was a little kind of weird to see this game when I first saw it, and I didn't know anything about it until recently, but it's nice to see a new duo is jumping into action, and in this case, Clive and Wrench I think is going to be something interesting. I say go ahead and grab yourself a copy of it. There's so many different types of RPGs out there in the world, and this is a dungeon crawling one at that. This is called Labyrinth of Galeria, the Moon Society. Now, this game is actually the sequel to an original game called Labyrinth of Reframe, Coven of Darkness, where you're summoned by the magnificent Madame Martha while you are a wandering spirit waiting for your next command. And with the help of Eureka, Martha's assistant, and also an army of soul-infused puppets, you are tasked with devolving into the depths of a mysterious underground labyrinth teeming with different monsters, and you have to uncover what is lying within the dungeon. Now, to those of you who don't know about dungeon crawling style games and those RPG style versions of them, you don't really see your character, but you see basically the avatars on screen, and it's not full-blown attacks are being done or full-blown animation being done. But if you like RPGs and you want to try out something of a new dungeon crawling experience that you may have never tried before, give this one a shot, then you're really gonna like it. Now, moving into the PlayStation territory now, games I got. And this first game I want to show you guys is one that I think is just absolutely amazing, and I had to go to great lengths to finally get it. Well, not really, but I found it on a website called PlayAsia, and this is called Super Robot Wars OG The Moon Dwellers. Now, if you're a big gamer, of course, and even if you're a small gamer, you probably have seen this series before in some type of fashion. It's a big franchise in Japan, and they bring a lot of different mechs and different characters from different series into this whole entire game franchise. But the Super Robot Wars has some amazing cutscenes. It's colorful, it's fast-paced. You get to customize your own mech and switching different weapons. And overall, it's just a fun series of games to have. And it's cool to see how the different characters interject with each other, and also how the story will progress on with them and building the relationships with them. But the mech fighter itself is just awesome, and seeing how the cutscenes will go on when you have the different battles. Now, if you're trying to get a copy of this game, it is exclusively through PlayAsia from what I've seen, but you probably can find it through maybe like Amazon, Japan, or something like that, or even the eBay. But in general speaking, I got my copy off of PlayAsia. There is no US physical release though. So if you're trying to get a copy of it for yourself physically and get it to your collection, PlayAsia is one website I do highly recommend. Check out Super Robot Wars OG. Now, another roguelike dungeon crawling role-playing game that I got off of PlayAsia's website, and a lot of people probably don't know about this game, and especially since now it's been taken off the storefront from what I understand. So the only way you can play this game is actually through a physical mean, and you're gonna have to get this off of PlayAsia. This is called Mistover. Now, Mistover is another dungeon crawling game where you have permadeath, you have to level up your party and make sure that they can survive. There's certain aspects of the game that can either, make your characters be poisoned or starve or anything like that. So it's close to what the Darkest Dungeon game used to be if you ever played that one. Now, the whole story premise behind this one follows the journey of a party of a cast of characters on a quest to discover the source of an invasion that has gone on in their world from another realm. Now, this game again is really interesting. It has a dark undertone. If you like roguelikes, I suggest that you get this one into your collection fairly quickly. And of course, since it is gone from the storefront, physical is the only option. Now, PlayAsia just decided to take all my money and get all my love this go around. And with that being said, I decided to buy Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes for the PS4. Now, this is also available on the Switch, and if you want to grab this game, I suggest you should go on the PlayAsia's website and check it out for yourself. Now, this game does take place with the cast of characters coming from the different series of Kamen Riders, such as Kamen Rider W, Kamen Rider 000, and also Kamen Rider 01. Now, if you never watched the Kamen Rider show from back in the day, and it's still ongoing to this very day, but if you have some similarities that you might see from it, you're pretty much probably going to remember like Power Rangers or even Battleborgs or Beetleborgs, if that's what they were called from back in the day, showing my age here. But this is a very unique game. Of course, if you ever played Dynasty Warriors, this is pretty much what you're going to expect from this, with Kamen Rider involved in it instead. It's a very interesting game if you want to check it out. It has some fast-paced action. It's really cool looking, and you get to play as different characters from those different series of the Kamen Riders. Check this one out on PlayAsia's website if you want to grab yourself a copy physically, or you can go ahead and buy it digitally, whichever way you feel is best for you. But it's a cool action RPG with some hack and slash, of course, involved in the gameplay footage. Go check out Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes for the PS4 and the Switch, and get it on PlayAsia's website and support those guys. This is actually a really cool website, so if you want to find some other games on the Kamen Rider series, check that website out. Now, if you ever played Far Cry or BioShock in any way or capacity, or even seen those games, this is going to be one that you're really going to be interested in, especially since it kind of has that similar mechanics system to it. This is called Atomic Heart, and this is a first-person shooter that has role-playing elements and also quick-time events that makes it that much more fun. Now, the setting of the game is where it takes place on Facility 3826, which is the Soviet Union's foremost scientific research hub. But it's in an alternate timeline where robots that the Soviet Union have built and are hostile in 1955. Now, you take control of the character Agent P-3, who is a World War II veteran who is suffering through mental issues and problems, and he doesn't know why after he wakes up. Now, you are tasked with capturing Petrov to sabotage all the different mechanical experiments that he's conducting, and also trying to figure out why the world is going into chaos the way it is. Now, this game has been under development for quite some time, and it's finally been out, but of course it has some controversy, of course, due to the fact of what's going on with Russia. So it did push it back for some time, and I mean, look, it's all right with what's going on. This looks like a gorgeous game. It looks phenomenal. The mechanics are cool. The storyline is interesting, and the gameplay itself is just absolutely fun to watch and even get your hands on if you ever get your copy of yourself. Now, this game is available also on PS4, PS5, and also both Xbox consoles. Get yourself a copy if you can, and look, This game, you're gonna love it right from the jump with just everything that's going on. And if you like fast-paced action and a great storyline behind it, check this one out. Now, this next game I actually picked up from Limited Run Games that I got for the PS5, but it did just recently come physically for the Switch. Welcome to the world of a neon-covered 2D meets 3D cyberpunk world of Anno Mutation M. Now, in this game, you'll take control of a character by the name of Anne, who is a highly skilled, combat-trained lone wolf who's on a personal mission in the big city. And, hey, she's going to be fighting her way through tons of different enemies, crazy boss fights, leveling up, learning new moves, and also acquiring different weaponry. Now, this game takes place in the cyberpunk world, which I love those type of games. The setting just be on the rip and on point with all types of different looks and styles. And in this game, if you want to try to get yourself a copy of it, you're going to have to go through Limited Games to get it physical. It may be also on Amazon for what I understand from the last time I seen it. But overall, check this game out if you like the 2D/3D style gameplay, hack and slash and action platforming style games. You're really going to enjoy just this overall aesthetic and look to it. Crazy story behind it, and overall just a crazy cast of characters and different enemies to fight through. Check this one out when you get a chance. Now you're probably looking at this and thinking to yourself, oh hey, guess what? This is a new Monster Hunter game. Well, it's not, but it's pretty similar to it. This is called Wild Hearts, and it's made by Omega Force, the developers. And this is an action role-playing game that's pretty much similar to the Monster Hunter series of gameplay style. Now, you'll be playing it where you're taking control of a nameless hunter who embarks on a quest to hunt down massive monsters called the Kimono in a world called Azuma. Now, it's not a full-blown open world, but it's pretty much close to it where you can go and freely explore the entire landscape of what the game is actually going to give you. There's 8 different weapon types you can pick from and use different weapons to encounter these creatures and destroy them or capture them in any way, shape, or form. It's a very unique game, and of course, because of the fact that it does take influence from the Monster Hunter series, you're pretty much going to jump in and automatically feel pretty comfortable with what you're going to be doing in this game. It's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it. I've seen a lot of gameplay footage for it, and I really do like the whole aesthetic of how the game looks. The characters are very interesting. The monsters are also really, really cool. And overall, I think the game is going to be something that a lot of people would jump into and just automatically say, hey, this is a good game to play. Now, for those who have played the Monster Hunter or the Toukenden series, they're pretty much going to see the experience and maybe more than likely compare it to what Monster Hunter has done in the past. But don't play it off and think that it's just a Monster Hunter clone. It does have its own unique aspect in how the game will be played, and I think a lot of people, if you give it a chance, you'll pretty much find there's some uniqueness to this game down the line. Hopefully we get some DLC or something different entirely down the road, maybe even a sequel once the game fully develops out with people and enjoying the game as an experience. As you can tell, this game is going to be around for a little bit, so get a chance to get a copy for yourself and enjoy it all together, and hopefully it does very well into the near future. Now, the Yakuza games, I think a lot of people remember and know of course, but there is a different series, or at least a sub-series of games that are out there called the Like a Dragon series. And the Like a Dragon Ishin just came out not too long ago, which actually is a remake of the original game back on the PS3 from years ago, only that was released in Japan. But we're getting it into the West. Now, this is a remake that pretty much kept all the core mechanics of what the original game was, but a few different modifications to it. But overall, if you're a fan of the Yakuza series, you're gonna love this game regardless of what it was. Like a Dragon Yakuza, which the original game before this one came out, was actually pretty popular, and a lot of people like the different tastes and what it was in the overall aspect. But in this one, it's going more of a samurai style look to it in general, where you have a different fighting style in different ways, or you use guns depending on what your preferences is. But in overall, the game looks incredibly good. It has a cool just aesthetic. Of course, if you're a big Japanese culture kind of person, you're going to appreciate what they've done with this game. And of course, with the whole Unreal Engine 4 being used, all the mechanics and all the fluidity of the game is really going to show off in this one. It's good to see that they're bringing older games that we haven't seen in the Yakuza series into the West, and hopefully this one does well enough to where they're going to continue to do that as well into the near future. Check this one out if you ever get a chance to, and also check out any of the other Yakuza games out there if you never played this series before. Now, I've been waiting for this game for a hot minute, and I'm so excited to finally have it, and I've been waiting for it since the day I saw the gameplay footage of it. This is Wulong Fallen Destiny. Now, if you ever played a game called Neo, you're pretty much going to get a similar experience in this game as well. Now, this game is where you take control of your character, and you're actually going to customize your own character, offer it different class of weaponry or different fighting style, and also you get to have a beast that will accompany you in fight and combat as well. Now, this game is linear, that it is like Neo used to be, but it does have some different aspects on how the game plays and also how the game mechanics will work in it. Overall, you're going to be fighting different beasts and different demons and such as that in a dark fantasy version of the Three Kingdoms period. And this game here, I can tell you right now, graphically, it looks amazing. Like, it just looks so awesome. The fighting style, the mechanics, everything just seems to be on point with this one. There's even a multiplayer mode where you can actually bring a friend along with you during combat. Now, this game, I think, is going to go a long way with just how it looks in general, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it with just the combat and also the graphics and how it looks. It's really, really fun, and I think they're just going to come a long way, and hopefully we even get a sequel. Now, another Cyberpunk game that I got, and the last game I got for this list, is a Cyberpunk hybrid slasher/shooter game, and it's called Wanted Dead. Now, if you ever played games like Ninja Gaiden or The Dead or Alive, you're pretty much compacting both of those into one, and you get this game. Hack and slash combat, which is fast-paced, third-person shooting. It's in a cyberpunk world, and you get unique finishers and just a decent storyline with it as well. Now, it does have its fair share of controversy on how the game technically plays out, or at least how the overall aspect of the character herself is being portrayed. But overall, the game looks fun. It looks really, really fast-paced and just an enjoyable experience nonetheless. Another game I think that would give you an overall taste of what this is supposed to be is a game called Killer is Dead, which is similar in aspect and how the game actually plays out. But overall, it looks incredible. The graphics just look nice, and I think it's something that I think a lot of people want to get their hands on and enjoy themselves. And that's it for this episode of The King's Treasure. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself just as much as I did. I had a great time showing you all the great games I bought for myself. And I mean, there's so many games. It was so hard to keep up. Man, it was nuts. I had to get all the remasters like the Kirby, the Metroid Prime. The Metroid Prime I had to get regardless just because of how much money that everybody's been asking for it. Also, I had to get the Hogwarts Legacy Collector's Edition with the wand and the book and the Steelbook. I'm a sucker for Steelbooks. Even Wanted Dead has a Steelbook edition. I had to make sure I get that. But other than that, I hope you guys did see some games that you might be looking forward to getting yourself. Let me know what you guys may have thought about some of these games, and let me know if you're playing any of them as well. Also, if you haven't done so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow a ton, and I appreciate the love and support. And also make sure you hit that bell to let you know when I drop a new video. Other than that, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Holla.